Hi, I'm Vex and this is another tutorial video for the Codex. Today we're going to be looking at triggered actions and how they're implemented within the Codex. We'll also be looking at the updated action bar user interface. This is in its first iteration and will be further developed on, but it's already made a significant difference and also shows some of the display for how triggers are used when they're available, etc. So to kick things off, I will just quickly select the tactician that I have here and step you through the new action bar and how that works. So all of our available action types have their own drawer here. So you have trigger, action, maneuver, and move. In combat, they have, you can see it just says not in combat here, but in combat, they would say that you have available that it's been used. When an action or a maneuver or something like that has been used, this little square fills with the icon of the ability that you use there. With the move, you can see that it has these notches, which represent the number of squares that you can move. And as you move, they will actually decrease to show you the remaining amount as well. So when you click on one of these, it will bring out the drawer. And when you hover over the drawer, you can see in the character panel on the right-hand side, it has the description for all of those abilities, which really cleans up the map when you're trying to use it. You can also see on the left here, we have our available triggers. So these are the little exclamation marks. A yellow uses your triggered action. The blue are free triggered actions. That will show you the ones that you have available and what they are. And when they are available to use, you select them from this trigger panel here, which I will demonstrate in a moment. Other major changes to the user interface is that you may have noticed that there is no longer heroic resource and surges tracking here. These are now tracked on the character panel next to your character portrait. So you have hero tokens now implemented. You can update your focus here and your surges here. A lot of that is now automated, as well as malice within combat is automatically generated based on the number of heroes, what round, etc., and victories. Okay, so let's kick things off. So today we're going to just be looking at the tactician's parry, and the conduit's word of guidance, which are both based off of a power roll trigger. So when a power roll is rolled, the tactician's parry is applying, mitigating damage. A word of guidance is applying an edge to a hero's attack. And then so they are based off of power roll. And then I have one that is based, the senses my life for yours, which is based off of target starting their turn or taking damage and allowing the use of a recovery. So that's a conditional trigger that's not based on a roll that I just wanted to show off. But all level 1 triggers for all base classes are currently built out and supported in the Codex. So we'll kick things off and get that started. So I'm going to draw skill. Love that new sound. Roll for initiative. And it's going to play around and give us monsters first. So I will select a monster. And I have already applied damage to some of these heroes here so that this could show you it working. But I'm just going to attack the tactician. And we're going to see that the sensor should have their triggered action triggered based off of this. Now to show you the triggers, so these apply from a director's point of view. They also apply from a player's point of view. So without having two separate instances of the Codex running, I'm cheating a little bit. There is luckily the ability to minimize the roll dialog box that comes up. So I will be utilizing that to kind of show you what it would look like on the player's point of view. And that'll show you the functionality, but for a player, they wouldn't have some of the interface that's going to appear, but it should give you enough direction to be able to use it in your own games. So let's go. We're going to use an action. We're going to stab the tactician here. So this is the minimize function. You can see here that I can select parry for as a director, and this would enable that triggered action for the tactician. But we want to give the heroes, in most cases, the opportunity to choose whether to use their trigger or not and when to do that. So I'll show you what it looks like from the hero's point of view as well. So let's just minimize this and we'll roll. Before I accept the result, you can see here that the tactician on their token, there was that little ding. Only the hero would hear that, or the player controlling this token. You can see that it's got the trigger, and to use it, I would click on the tactician here, click on the trigger, and I can activate parry. So I can shift 1 square. If you move adjacent to the target, the damage is halved and the potency is decreased by 1. So I'm going to activate that. And I will shift to here and accept the result. Now what you can see here is that the sensor has a trigger, my life for yours. And so this trigger here is based off of the fact that the goblin has just done damage to the tactician. And that is the trigger point for my life for yours. So if I activate that, so this is again from the player's perspective, it spends one of my recoveries as the sensor, but heals the tactician, and you can see the sensor still has all of their recoveries. Now, let's end that goblin's turn. And what you can also see, is in the initiative ribbon here, for other players, they can actually hover over and see what the other heroes' triggers are, so that they can remind them when they're used, or that can be used in those tactical discussions for when to trigger them. But it's grayed out now that they're used for the round, and for those players, they'll see that their triggered action has been used. And you can see on the other drawers, it's not their turn at the moment, so they can't use these. But if I end my turn and I'm over to the hero, I can select which one wants to use. So I'm going to go with the sensor. And from here, we're going to show word of guidance. For the word of guidance, I've shown you how players can activate their own triggers, but for the word of guidance, I'll show you how the director can trigger it on behalf of the players. So now that it's the sensor's turn, you can see that I have actions. You have 1 action available, you have 1 maneuver available, and they're now showing that it's my turn. So I'm going to move in. Notice how the pip for my walk has dropped down here. I'm going to select an action, and we'll just do pain for pain on this goblin here. And I'm going to roll. Now, the conduit has activated that result. But what I can do is I can trigger that the power roll gains an edge as the director here. And you can see that that's now applied an edge to the roll. Now, I rolled 2 1s, so it didn't do anything on the tier. It wasn't enough to bump it up. But you can see now if I take this off, no edge. And then from the player's perspective, if they wanted to activate that, they click on their token, trigger, and they can activate it, and it will give an edge. They can click it again to deactivate it if they've changed their mind. That all needs to happen before the result here is accepted. So let's activate it, give it an edge. Didn't do anything, it's still tier 1, but that's how that works. That is triggered actions in the Codex. We've also had a look at the updated UI for the action bar. Hopefully that's useful. If you have any further questions, please let them know in the comments and I'll try and address them. But other than that, see you next time. Thank you.